Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. It's 7 something in the morning and it's Memorial Day, so happy Memorial Day. Shout out to the soldiers, everybody in the military. Shout out to y'all for protecting us. Thank you. Okay, that's why I'm wearing this Ralph Lauren sweater to be, you know, festive. And I got this last year right before I went to France, actually, before July 4th from Ralph. I said the Ralph Lauren, but this is from the kids section because it's cheaper than the adult sweater, because the adult sweater was like $400 and I was just like, nah. So anyways, I'm making a movie. Yes, I'm making a movie, and I said it in my previous video, so thank you to everyone who watched that and commented. I was really touched by all the comments, but I'm literally making a movie. So I'm making multiple movies, but I have to pick one. So I'm picking The Christmas Wish. I'm just gonna pick that one because I already made the animatic for it and I had already started it. So it is a little short animated film that takes place in the 1830s, and I picked that time period because I hate the fashion. Like, I literally hate the fashion. It's right before the Regency era, but it's after. Is it before the Regency era or after the Regency era? I don't know. It's sometime. It's not Regency, but it's not Rococo, but it has the vibes of more of a Rococo because it's the big skirts, it's the big sleeves, all of that, but without Rococo. And if you don't know what Rococo is, Rococo, you're like, who is Glen Coco? No, it's Rococo. Rococo was a fashion period in France that happened right after the Baroque era. So if you think of like King Louis the 14th, who built the Palace of Versailles because it used to be just a hunting lodge, and he turned it into the palace that it was. That was the Baroque era. And then Rococo is the time of Marie Antoinette. So the wigs got much taller, everything got more pastel colored, and that's Rococo. And then after that is, and then meanwhile, because everything kind of looks the same, right? Like all the paintings kind of look the same to the untrained eye. But then meanwhile, in in England, that was who was king at the time? Queen Charlotte and King Edward were king and queen at the time of Marie Antoinette, and King Louis the Seventh. It is, oh God, I love him. King Louis the 18th, the last one. Yeah, the 18th. 17th? I'm so sorry, Louis. I'm sorry. I saw you in France. I'm sorry. But anyways, so I love the Rococo period. That's my favorite fashion time of all time because it was just magnificent. And one day I want to go to the Palace of Versailles for a ball that they have every single May where everyone dresses up like that, and it's just sick, and it's like one big costume party, and that's so amazing. And like, I literally want to go so bad, but like, it's, number one, it's expensive. Number two, I'd have to buy a robe à la Francais, which is literally the outfits that they used to wear, and you can buy them online, but they're also, as you can imagine, very expensive. And then I'd have to buy a wig and the shoes. And I know you can rent those things, but like, I, for my own personal history nerd satisfaction, would want to keep them and be like, yeah, like, this is memorabilia from the time I went to the costume party and Marie Antoinette was proud. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, that was my favorite fashion time, but I wanted to pick a fashion time that I didn't like, okay? So I could challenge myself as an artist. And the Christmas Wish was originally Regency style, but this was literally right when Bridgerton came out. And like, everyone was just like, Bridgerton. So I was just like, let me not do that this time period, because also I don't like Regency era clothes because they look like nightgowns. Like, it just looks, when you look at like even Elizabethan fashion or the like Renaissance fashion and how fancy everything was, to go from all that decadence to even aristocrats and nobles wearing nightgown looking clothes, I'm like, ew. So yeah, it's just like a column. It literally looks like you're a pillar. Like, I just don't like it. But anyways, so I wanted to do something I didn't like, but that challenged me as an artist, and Regency was too simple, so I chose the 1830s. For whatever reason, it reminds me of like Martha Washington. I don't know why, but it's not colonialist style because it's not in, my story takes place in England, so it does not take place in America, so it wouldn't be colonial fashion. But anyways, yeah, so 1830s, that's just the vibe, that's the fashion that I'm going for. And because like the further you go, closer to I believe the 1900s, you get into more Victorian style, so it was not the Victorian era just yet. It was King Edward. No, God, I'm so confused. Sorry that I'm talking about this while being confused. So it was. I'll insert pictures, okay? This is why you have to do research, because literally, like, after this clip, I'll just show you the research that I'm doing, and the king and queen are not gonna be in the series, so like it doesn't really matter, but I just want to get the time period right. So yeah, I'll figure all that out, and this is just a stream of consciousness and my thought process behind creating the film. And like, yeah, so I already have the characters because I did an animatic, which is, if you don't know what an animatic is, it is basically like a moving comic, very simple, not in color, in black and white, just to show what's happening when it's happening with music, and there can also be dialogue involved, but for the most part I think that in the real animation world there is no dialogue. I think it's just, maybe there is dialogue because sometimes movies will have the dialogue done first and then everyone animates to it to make it easier. So yeah, but then there's background music, there's all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I did that in 2020 for a school project when I was in Tennessee, and that's there for me personally to just watch and reference, which is very good because I already have the basic characters, I already have the plot and all that, and now this is just basically refining it all. So yeah, I'm working on backgrounds today and possibly characters, but I already have like a giant Pinterest secret board of all of that stuff, so I'm just gonna work on backgrounds today because for me that's the most challenging thing to do because I'm more used to drawing characters. So yeah, come along with me, okay? Yeah, let's go. Woo. So I wasn't wrong. Okay, so I did some research and I went to Wikipedia and I found out that during the era that I'm looking at, the 1830s, the king was King William IV. I don't like Roman numerals. I forget sometimes what they even mean. So hold on, let me just look it up so I don't look stupid on here too. I know V is 5. Oh, just kidding. Well, 5 is V, but IV is 4. And then 6 is VI, and then 7 is VII. But how is IV 4? And then 5 is V. Like, I don't, I was gonna say who made it up, but it was the Romans. But anyways, King William IV was King George's son. So there's King George, Queen Charlotte, Marie Antoinette, Louis, and then there's William IV. And he was king from 1830 to 1837. So, and then he was the third son of George III, and then he succeeded his elder brother George IV. So George IV was king. All right, so why is this? All right, anyway, so George III had a son named George IV, of course, and he was the king from 1820 to 1830, and then his brother was king. Okay. And then he was the last king of the House of Hanover, and then after him was Queen Victoria. So my story does not take place during the Victorian period. Let's just say it takes place between 1830 and 1837, just because I don't want to do Victorian fashion. No offense to Queen Victoria, but like I just don't want to do Victorian fashion. I just settled on the 1830s, even though, yeah, so yeah, that's all. Let's see. So So let me go to my Pinterest board, and I have 239 pins so far, and I have them in different sections. So I have hair, fashion, locations, food, the Christmas party that's at the finale, and I'm not ruining the story because it's in the animatic. And then next is bridal fashion of that time, and then there's men's fashion, and then I have a bunch of like other references like in the rest of the pin. I love Pinterest. Like, I've been on Pinterest for so long, for 11 years now, which is crazy. Maybe 12 years. Okay, anyways, so there's that. And truly speaking, like, there's so much about art and animation that I just don't know. Like making color scripts and color palettes, and like I understand how to make a color palette, and you just pick colors and you're like, these are the colors that I'm gonna use. You know what I mean? So that's cool. But I literally just like look at other people's art and I'm like, oh, I like how they did that. You know what I mean? Like, I like what you did there. So that's what I'm inspired by, and like I'm gonna just do my own style, because like I've always asked myself, like, every artist looks at art or your own art and you're like, why does it look like that? But it's literally just because that is your own style, and you just have to embrace your style as an artist, and that's just the way you draw. And it may look like ugly to you or like whatever to you, but to other people you're like, oh, that's Tumi's drawing because that's her style, like, you know. So I'm unashamed of, you know, doing anime inspired art. I'm just unashamed, you know. So let me show you guys something really quick. Hold on. So I really like these things called fashion plates. If you want to know how people actually looked and dressed, these are the catalogs of the day. So you would look at these and go to the modiste and be like, yeah, I want one. So this is in 1823. This is for the Parisian opera, so you can know in Paris that's what the women were wearing. That's all the rage in Paris. So I'm literally, this is the Regency era. So this is what I mean by saying it literally looks like a nightgown, which it does. I don't like it. It's just not the vibe. So let me show you what people dress like in the 1830s. So meanwhile, in 1830 something, this is a court dress, which is very formal. So you'd be going to see the king and queen, you'd have to dress like this. So this is what I mean. Like this is like you can still, if you know anything about Rococo style, you can still see like the super intricate lace, the intricate lace and the big skirts and like all the fineries, except back in the Rococo period, women wouldn't be wearing their natural hair like this. You'd be wearing a very tall wig, like, so the feathers and the wig would be basically competing with each other, you know. So yeah, so I wanted to do something more like, it's not going to be this dramatic because they're not having any court presentations in front of the monarch, but I didn't want to do just something that's just like this, you know. So this is actually the Rococo era. This is actually Madame Pompadour. So yeah, this was a famous mistress back then, but this is Rococo, so you can see what I'm talking about here, and then you can see how the fashion evolved. But this is just like kind of tame for Rococo. Like Rococo is way more intricate and stuff. So yeah, this is more of the Rococo era right here, and then this would be like Shakespeare times. And then this would be Regency. So I like just looking at costumes and stuff. This would be a ballet costume for the Rococo era and stuff. And yeah, now we're getting a bit too far ahead with this right here because it's getting into like 1900s vibes. But anyways, ooh, that's too modern. So yeah, that's basically, this is what I'm basically going for, which is also a court outfit, and you can tell by the feathers and just all the craziness going on here. But yeah, so I have and the thing about fashion plates, I mean, they were around in the 1830s, so like I can rip off of them and it's literally no big deal, like no one's gonna sue me. So basically, like, I've been studying the fashion of the time, and you would wear different outfits. Like if you were going on a walk, you'd literally wear this. This is not as fancy as this looks. This is not an evening gown. This is a day dress. So you don't wear this going out for a walk in the park, and then these are the overcoats. So I literally have to just study like these sorts of things and what the people are wearing and like what is appropriate to wear with what, because like for example, she's not wearing gloves, but she has gloves in her hand, but like this is just completely different than like what you saw earlier on. And like again, these are costumes français et anglais, so these are like what women in France and England would wear. This is the style. And again, this is a day dress, you could tell by the hat also, and so she's like walking. This is an overcoat that would like be a day dress, and this is also fancy, but it's not an evening gown fancy, you know what I mean? So like there's so many different occasions, so this would be an example of an evening dress. So even though the other one is fancy, this is what, January 1832, so you see what I mean, La Mode 1832. So you'd look at this and be like, oh dad, I want one, or oh husband, I want one. This is the rage, all the rage in Paris, you know. So yeah, that's basically what I'm studying. So it's the main character and her best friend, and you know, they're just hanging out, and she likes someone and they're trying to get his attention. It's just a very simple story, but I just have to study a lot when it comes to fashion and stuff. And like these, oh goodness gracious, like I mean, look at how ridiculous this is. The mode de Paris. So this is what the French women were wearing, and it was like, oh, this is so chic. Oh my goodness, wow. What year? I don't think it says the year here, but basically the same time. But you can see that this is more slim than the other one, so I want to say maybe this is like 1836, maybe like later on, or maybe even earlier. Or this is 18, I think it's 1826 actually, but I also like this coat. This is very nice. But you see the hats and everything. So like I just want to be more accurate to the times, because I mean there are people who we've all seen shows where like it's just not historically accurate, and you're like, what are they even doing here, you know? So I'm trying to be accurate, so I have to study a lot of this stuff. Also, I'm remaking my UGC portfolio, and if you don't know what that is, it's called user-generated content, which just sounds ugly. And it sounds so nerdy, but it's basically when you get influencers to create advertisements that they don't necessarily have to post on their own feed. They can make it just for you, just for the brand. And so like I've heard of people working with like restaurants and stuff, so like you'll go to a restaurant and shoot content, film content there, and instead of posting it on an influencer is someone who would post on their page, hey guys, I went to this new restaurant, everyone check it out. But a UGC creator is an influencer basically in the shadows, where they would create that beautiful content, and instead of saying, hey everyone, go to this restaurant, they would make a video that is just for the restaurant, and the restaurant will post it on their own page and just promote it on their own page, and like you wouldn't even know that I went there, you know what I mean? Because maybe I'm not even in the video, I'm just shooting the content of the food. So people do that with restaurants, hotels, businesses, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm doing. But also because I'm an artist and illustrator, I'm also letting brands know that I do illustration work and animation, and so like I can do work for brands, and I'd rather do that for brands than people, because I told you guys in my other video that I got scammed. I think I told you in my other video I got scammed by someone who wanted me to draw their nephew or whatever, and then she just did not even pay me, and it was just a whole thing. And the thing about it is like no offense to regular people, but a lot of regular people truly have issues with paying artists what they're worth, and they're just like, why should I pay you more than $20, even though like you're asking for someone's time and skill and labor to do customized artwork? And like in reality, people squiggle on a canvas and put it in an art gallery in New York and get paid like $20 million, you know what I mean? And I'm not asking for that much money like at all. So anyways, I'm remaking my UGC portfolio, and then I'm gonna email brands, and I'm working on an illustration as like a little sample. Like I'm gonna do 2 illustrations, one that is like a food illustration and one that is more of a fashion makeup illustration, and just be like, yeah, if you need like illustrations, you guys can permission, and I can do that because I've seen a lot of artists doing that, and so that's a way to like make money while doing what I love as well. So like that's cool, you know what I mean? Like I just think that's cool. And I'm listening to blizzard sounds, which is not a good idea because I listen to those sounds when I sleep. So like I shouldn't listen to them at 8 o'clock in the morning because I will pass out and get more tired. So I'm gonna probably like I'm just gonna go through my Watch Later playlist on YouTube, which has 106 videos, which like while I'm multitasking. So yeah. Alright. So I'm working on the main character's bedroom. I decided I'm gonna rename the main character. Her name was originally Violet, but I'm just gonna rename her because I don't like that name anymore. Basically her bedding was originally blue, but then I changed it to this hideous shade of green because I'm basically staging the room she's like the antithesis of the girly girl, and it's just meant to show that she does not care about fashion. She doesn't care about like she's more into like reading and just not the fashionable times. Like she doesn't care if her hairstyle is 10 years old or her clothes are not the most, you know, fanciest clothes or whatever. She's just chilling. Like she does not care at all. So that's why this isn't like pink or a nice shade of blue. It was originally going to be like a darker shade of blue, almost navy, but then I didn't like it. It just came across as like too depressing. So I just chose this ugly shade of green. And then I also have here are all my layers. This is the bedding. I don't have a blanket on here yet. This is just gonna be how it is, and I'm gonna make this bed into like a single PNG file with no background, so that when I draw the actual background I can just drag and drop the furniture there, you know what I mean? Because you'll figure it out later. So yeah, I'm just gonna drag and drop the furniture there. So I'm just gonna keep this as its own thing. And then I made a whole reference page right here, and I had to look up rooms from different angles, of course. So that's other people's art of rooms from different angles, just for a reference, because it's helpful when you do it like this way and then you turn the room around. Because if the character like walks in, you know, let's say that the character you know, walks in, you can just have them walk into the room, or they walk in, somebody else walks in from this angle or whatever. But you typically, like, this is like a bird's eye view or like a God's eye view of the thing, so you could have it from this angle just to show where everything is, and then kind of flip it around. This is a different room, but it's still pink or whatever. Then you can say, okay, here the bed is here. So then if you're looking from, let's say the door is right here. And then this is just helpful to have, because when you're like, okay, here's the door right here. Here I am. And then you can have a person sitting in the chair, standing, whatever. And then you're like, okay, this is the view from the back of the head. You know, right there. And then this is like, I want to say this is AI. This is actually AI. But I just wanted to see how a drawing room looked. I did not make this, but it's just, I got this from Pinterest. And then this is a Georgian style house. And here is like, sorry, you can't see on camera. Here's the drawing room, the first floor, the second floor. That's just a floor plan, you know, because every house has a floor plan. And so this is basically the research that goes into making animated films. And if I had, you know, if this was a collaborative project, it would be much easier, because I prefer drawing characters, and then I could just have, you know, other people draw the backgrounds. Here's more rooms for reference. This is not AI, this is a real bed. That's also a real bedroom. And then this is like once upon a time, this is the old school catalog. So like they would have catalogs, and there's a blog, according to this thing, there's a blog in 2011 that did a reproduction. This is just an adaptation of something from an 1809 curtain. Just want to put that out there. So that's part of my reference. So like this story takes place in the 1830s, so these curtains would kind of be out of date. So imagine if you had like a 2009 bedroom in 2024 sort of vibes, which is crazy to even think about it that way, but that's literally how you have to think about it. And so it's like this would be kind of out of date, but like my character, she doesn't, originally I did not give thought to who she lives with, but I guess in this she lives with her family because she's an unmarried woman and she's not like a widow or an orphan or whatever. So she's she lives with her family, but they care about the trends and stuff. So I'm trying to see if I can find actual, like, if let's say it takes place in 1833, I want to find something more modern, because if they had furniture from like 1809, like I said, if you have the same exact everything that you had in 2009 or 1999, imagine if you had your house looked exactly the same in 2009 or 2019 that it did in 1999. That would be like, are you financially hurting? Do you not care about the times? So she herself, my character, not my character, as in I'm not in the thing, but like the female protagonist does not care. She couldn't care less if her stuff is from the time of Marie Antoinette, which would be like, if I had furniture from 1909, she wouldn't care. Like, she would not care. But like her family is up to date with the trends and stuff, but they're just like, why is our daughter so like frumpy? Like, why does she not care about herself? Because she just wears outdated hair, outdated clothes. She doesn't care about all the trends. Like I said, she doesn't care that her room is like masculine green. She just couldn't care less. So I'm looking at this reference when I'm, doing all this kind of stuff, and that's kind of the thought process that I have behind this, even though this is just a bed. But that's my own thought process when I'm creating different characters. Like, they have to live in a world, you know what I mean? They have to live in a world. Like, if you are living right now, obviously, and you see something on TikTok, you see something on Pinterest, you see something on Architectural Digest, and you want it, that's you saying, I want something current with the times. I care about the trends. I care about what's in right now and what's popping. So like, that would be the case in 1899. That would be the case in 1834. That would be the case in 1770. If you were in 1775, you don't want something from 1603 in your house, because that's so old school. You know what I mean? You want something new and trendy and hip, and that's how it is. So yeah, those are the kinds of things I'm thinking about. So I'm trying to be very historically accurate, because you never know. Maybe it's like, it doesn't matter, right? But I personally watch shows with that kind of eye. Like, if I have something based in the Rococo time and somebody wears a Queen Elizabeth Renaissance dress, it's just wrong, it's off, it's very bizarre. It's literally like if you went to school and the person came dressed as Abraham Lincoln every day. You would just be like, why is this person dressing like that? Or someone was dressed like a pilgrim. It's the same exact thing. So yeah, that's all. That's all. So I'm just working on backgrounds, and that's my goal for this week, is just to do backgrounds. So yeah, wish me luck.